up your engine! Alright, people are always asking me, what tools are good? What chemicals and products are good? Well, since I just moved, I have to unpack everything now. And guess what I brought? I brought the stuff that actually works and left the other stuff back in the messy old garage that they're going to knock down. So I'm dragging out a bunch of boxes and we'll go through them. Now the first thing I'm going to talk about is this hose clamp removal tool. Now this is an OTC Drake clamp remover tool. I got it on Amazon for 29 bucks. As usual, I am not being paid by any companies. These are products that I've tested out and they work perfectly fine. When you're taking clamps off, you really need a tool like this on modern cars. Now this is just an example for here. You just put it on here, then you squeeze it. When it starts to get tight, then it's loose and you can remove it. Now the days of screw-on clamps is long gone. They build them this way for two reasons. It's cheaper to manufacture them that way, but actually, if they're quality spring-loaded clamps, they last forever because they're spring-loaded. They keep tight. Guess what happens as your hoses get old? They shrink. Then you would have to go around and physically tighten them up every once in a while. These tighten themselves. Now, the main flaw of these tools are, if they're cheaply made, guess what? The cables break, right? I tried some really cheap, made from Chinese ones that guys sold me. The cables would break. I'd swear at them. This one is $29 on Amazon. And it's lasted me for years. You can see it's pretty dirty. That's what I use. I brought it because it's a very handy tool. You're going to work on your own car's cooling system? You really should get one of these. What's the next tool? This is a hub remover tool. This is also an OTC tool, got on Amazon. Your axle's hubs get stuck, you bolt these on the wheel bolts, and when you turn it, this pops it out. There's very little working room in places. You don't want to be hammering shafts and breaking them. This presses it out. And the reason that I got the OTC one was because I tried cheap ones from discount auto parts stores. These ends would break off, the threads would cross thread, sometimes this would bend. This is a solid built tool. Now if you look closely, you'll see there's wear on this. But I've had this thing for like 10 years. Got a little wear, but it still works. And the advantage of this particular OTC tool is, look, the head comes off. You can buy just the replacement head. So, if it really gets worn and you bugger it up, buy another one. Snap it on. That's the advantage of quality tools. You buy them once, you can use them a long time. And any of the disposable parts, you can replace them. Always keep that in mind when you're getting tools. All right, what else is in this box? It's a jug of motorcycle oil. And why did I bring it? Because I brought my motorcycle. Now this is Motul motorcycle oil. As usual, I buy the stuff. I test it out. I use it myself. This is the best motorcycle oil that I found for my motorcycles. Now you might say, why motorcycle oil? Well, there's a simple answer for that. Because motorcycles are not like cars. You take cars. The engine oil lubricates the engine. The pistons going up and down. The bearings inside the engine. That's a particular type of oil that gets a particular type of stress. But modern day motorcycles, their engine oil serves two purposes. It does lubricate the engine, so it has to work like car oil. It also lubricates the transmission because the motor oil and the transmission oil in most modern motorcycles is the same oil. It's shared in the same system. Even this old Suzuki has the same system. The engine oil is the same oil as the transmission oil. It's shared in a common system. So the oil in a modern motorcycle has to do the same thing as oil in a car engine, but it has added things it has to do. It's in the transmission. It's lubricating the standard transmission gears, and they get a lot of shear pressure of the gears pushing on, which is different than in a car engine. So if you have a modern motorcycle, you want to make sure you use oil that's made for motorcycles, not just car oil. Now, if you got a really old motorcycle, old Triumph, old Harley, they had engine oil for the engine and they had separate oil for the transmission. They didn't share the oil, so you don't have to worry about it. But almost all modern motorcycles use a shared oil. It's not even that it's the same type of oil. It's the same oil in the same system. It flows between them both. So you make sure you get the right oil. And I've been using that Motul oil for decades now, and I am totally satisfied with it. I've never had engine or transmission problems in any of my motorcycles. So when I find something works, believe me, I stick with it. Well, the dog has joined us. He doesn't give very good professional advice, but he does give emotional support. Now, what's the next thing in the box, okay? New finish. Now, I've been using this stuff for years. Check out my wife's 19-year-old Lexus. Still looks great. But alas, I've been warned by a viewer that somebody bought this company and the new product does not work as well. Now, I can't personally vouch one way or another, because guess what? Scotty has a case of this lying around. It's going to last me for years. It's the old stuff. But if any of you out there, the new one doesn't work like the old one, please tell me. Go to the ScottyKilmer.com forum. Tell everybody. We want to share information that's as updated as possible. Hey, like I've always said, nobody's paying me to back any of these products, so I like this. It works good. But if you people are going to tell me, hey, this stuff doesn't work like it used to, I will pass that information on, because I want to always keep updated. But like I say, I got a case of this stuff, so the old stuff works great, and I'll probably be able to use it for years until I have to try the new stuff. Okay, what else is in here? Carburetor spray cleaner. Now you might say, oh, Scotty, you're an old timer. What the heck has carburetors on them anymore to clean? Well, it's a lot more than carburetor spray cleaner. It gets rid of all kinds of gunk and varnish. It's excellent for cleaning metal throttles on cars, any kind of linkage that might be sticking. You may have other things that have a carburetor. Now granted, this late model Polaris is fuel injected, but the Cub Cadet isn't. Just the other day, I cleaned the carburetor on this thing, got it running like a dream. There's a lot of usage of carburetor spray cleaner. I even get it in my work shirts. If I get stains and stuff, does a pretty good job cleaning it out. Just make sure then you take your shirt or your pants off and hang them outside for a while. Because if you bring them in the house and they stink, your wife is going to kill you. As you can say, carburetor cleaner. It's not just for carburetors today. Now what else is in a box? Again, we have an OTC tool because they're quality made. It's a tie rod and ball joint remover. When you're removing tie rods and ball joints, you do not want to rip the rubber boot. You can get one of those forked rods that you put in and smash with a hammer, but that's going to rip the boots. Now, if you're taking a car apart and you don't care, let's say you got a bad tie rod, you can hammer it off because you're throwing it away anyways. But if you're doing some work where you got to remove a ball joint or tie rod, you don't want to ruin it, this fits inside, and then when you tighten it, it pops off cleanly because the pressure here is only on the metal part of the rod. There's nothing touching the rubber boot. And like I say, this is an OTC. I got it on Amazon. It's a quality product. Don't go and buy the cheapest ones you can, made in China or at a discount auto parts store, the absolute cheapest, because guess what's going to happen? One, these metal parts, which you see are still pretty straight, they're going to bend and break, and this is going to just tear apart because the metal's too cheap. Don't get a cheap tool. Get a good one if you're going to do the work. They don't cost that much more, and they're going to last a lifetime. The only thing I could basically do with this is lose it. This is for taking water pumps out on mainly American cars. It's a performance tool, that's the name of the company, that I bought years ago. Modern American cars, a lot of them, they made them as cheap as they possibly could. So the water pump pulley does not have any way of getting the fan off of them in trucks because they don't have bolt holes holding them on. They have a gigantic one bolt that spins in the middle. Now you do need another tool to use this correctly. You need a long extension bar because this part just snaps in. That goes over the giant nut so you can loosen it. But if you try loosening it, guess what? The water pump will just continue to spin. So with this part on the water pump giant bolt, or this one, there's different sizes, so the kit comes with them all. Then either this tool or this tool will fit over slots on the water pump, or sometimes they just have holes. So you need a tool like this that has various hole male pieces that fit into the female holes, or this side. Then that holds the pulley from spinning. So as you pull, that's why they're long, you pull to get it loose, this end holds it from moving, and you break it loose and get it off. If you don't have these, it's impossible to take them apart. So if you got an American car you're going to be working on, you need one of these sets. And yes, I'm getting old. It's called a performance tool, but I just realized it's made by this company, Schley Products. And this is why I love what I do. Nobody's paying me to say anything. I see a mistake a company made, I'm going to talk about it. Hey, I'll drive around in an old car. I don't care. I'm not trying to impress anyone. The only thing I'm trying to do is help everybody on the planet out with their car problems. And in that respect, hey, be sure to check out my new forum, ScottyKilmer.com, completely free. We're sharing knowledge with the world. There's a bunch of helpers now, moderators, and I'm there answering questions. We're going to help everybody out with their car problems so they can't get ripped off and so that they don't buy the wrong car in the first place, because half of car repair is buying the right car in the first place. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.